This week on the Unpopular Opinion Show.
I enjoyed it that way. I mean, it's nothing worse than some wet.
I did not give my kid's mother finger food. I gave her the finger. Unfortunately, no one refers to a woman in her 50s as young lady.
He's being weird. I mean, like, it's not like he wasn't weird already.
And I think that's bullshit.
At the bare minimum, he is prejudiced.
If you're a Republican, you're bad. Most people who know me probably would have never thought they would ever hear me say anything like that. The only thing I got against light-skinned sisters is me.
I think you need to say clearly what happened.
Who gives a fuck?
I don't care if you personally kick Candace Owens and her stinky
Cray.
No good thing starts with, I was thinking about my ex.
He ain't learned his lesson. That's a brother ain't gonna learn shit.
I know this is gonna be unpopular, and I don't care.
Let's keep this shit funky.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Unpopular Opinion Show. You have no idea what we went through to get here. You have no idea. Like, you're just seeing the beginning all clean. You hear the applause. But God damn it, there was shit happening before record was pressed.
Teddy Riley would be proud.
Happy birthday, Teddy Riley. I know we ain't do birthdays yet, but let me, because I have to, he gets the last laugh at this one because we had some serious issues, and and Teddy Riley's spirit was standing over my shoulder going, yep.
Oh boy.
So yeah, do that. While we at it, I mentioned the birthday. My wife's birthday was this week, October 8th. Happy birthday to my wife, Kayla. We celebrated her birthday. Had some, did a brunch with, some champagne and orange juice. That's called
Mimosa.
Mimosa, thank you. We had some mimosas and finger foods and all that good stuff. And then we don't do restaurants. We're not sitting down in restaurants. But I ordered from an Italian restaurant some seafood. She said she wants some seafood. So I got some seafood. She had some like the clams and pasta or whatever. I had some lobster and shrimp and some other shit and pasta. But the appetizer, I had grilled octopus. I don't recall eating octopus before. It wasn't bad. Well, of course, my wife, she had the spicy, oh shoot, what is it called? Squid, the spicy squid.
Calamari?
Calamari, spicy calamari. It was in the spicy sauce. It was really good. It was better than the octopus. And I was like, so I gave her the rest of it. She ate it the next day, but she put it in the sauce with the calamari, the spicy sauce, and it was good because it was, so what was missing from the octopus was sauce. I was like, this is good. I enjoyed it that way. I mean, it's nothing worse than some wet pussy, but
listen, so you
that right, I fucked that up. There's nothing worse than some dry pussy. I fucked the joke up. God damn it.
It's one of them days, man. Yeah. It's one of them days. So my kid's mother, my mother, and a good close friend of mine all celebrated their birthday on October 9th. I did not buy seafood. Okay. I did not give my kid's mother finger food. I gave her the finger. But octopus. So I've had octopus before. I've had it once at an Italian restaurant in Santa Monica, California. It was a young lady. Well, I won't even say that because she was. I was in my 40s at that time. She was in her 50s. So it was a woman.
Still in your 40s, dude.
Say what?
You're still in your 40s.
Well, I was in my early 40s at that time. She was in her 50s.
Got it.
And unfortunately, no one refers to a woman in her 50s as young lady.
You do if you don't want to get.
She's a really nice lady. She's a nice lady. She was from Australia, grew up in England, and I met her online, and we had dated a little bit, and she was like, "Hey, it's this restaurant I want to take you to. You'll like it." So I meet her over in Santa Monica. We go over and she orders the octopus. And I'm a little black dude from College Park. We don't, you can't just go to the local store and pick up octopus. So I'd never had octopus before, but they bring it to the table, suckers and all. And I'm like, in my brain, trying to figure out how in the hell do I get away from eating this crap and still being able to get laid at some point. Unfortunately, I did not come up with a way to do that. So I wound up eating the octopus, and it did not taste bad. It tasted good. It was prepared well. It's just
chewy.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
So
a lot of chewing.
I will never eat octopus again.
Do you want better? My great grandmother, we called her Nana. She's gone now, but rest in peace to Alina. I came home. I went to her house when I was in high school. I went to her house after school one day, and she sat. I sat in the kitchen watching TV, whatever. And she prepared it, man. She's the type. She always fuss over you. No matter what. No, Nana, I'm not hungry. No, you got to eat, boy. Baby, you got to eat. And so she fixed me some, brought me a plate, sat it down in front of me, gave it to her. I took a little taste of it. I need some hot sauce. Nana, you got some hot sauce? Yeah, you gave me some hot sauce. Put some hot sauce on it, and it was perfect. Now I ate it and whatever. A little chewy, a little chewy, had a weird texture to it, but, it was good. It was, and she said, "You like it?" I said, "Yeah." You know what that is? No, what is it? That's cow tongue. She waited after I ate it to tell me that I was munching on cow tongue. I said, "Okay, Nana, okay, I'll never eat it again," but yeah, it wasn't bad with the hot sauce, and okay.
I see that sense of humor runs in the family. Nana knew what she was doing.
Go ahead. Yeah, no. Hey. Eat this. Tell me what you think about it afterwards. I'll tell you what it is later. Yo. Yeah, Nana got me. Yeah. Baby, that's cow tongue.
That reminds me the second time I had sex. She said, "Eat this and I'll tell you what it is later." That was a joke. Oh boy.
All right, so jumping right in, man. This week, again, in dog years, as Mike described it, is moving really, really. Is it moving slowly or just a lot happens that feels like it's moving quickly? I don't know. Whichever. It just does not feel good. But one of the things that happened this week was the vice presidential debate.
Yeah.
I said something about it before it happened, and it turns out I was right. Mike Pence sitting there trying to be condescending to Kamala Harris did not work out well for him at all. And on top of that, the new political star of the whole event was a fly that landed on Mike Pence's head. We have a new political star. He has a social media account now, and signs for Biden and Harris, and Biden had instantly, like minutes after the debate, they had a picture of Vice President Biden sitting with a fly swatter. Donate to help this campaign fly. Oh man. But
what did you think about the debate?
I thought it was a lot more civil than it wasn't, it was a lot more civil, if you want to call it that, than the presidential debate, which the second one got canceled, thank God.
Yeah.
But Mike Pence's job is to defend President Trump. So he has to sit there and lie and paint this alternative universe. This is the cat that's she nailed him on it. This is the cat that's over the coronavirus committee or whatever. And he heads that committee over coronavirus. And there's no way you could say, yeah, things are going good. There's no way you can say it. There's nothing. He even tried to compare it. Pence tried to compare it to the swine flu. Like, dude, that people didn't lose their jobs and the country didn't get shut down with swine flu. It's I don't know. Yeah, but in any case, and just on face value, it was more civil. You got to hear some things instead of, there was some interrupting in which Kamala Harris didn't let him do. Hang on, see if this will play for me or not. No, it's not. Okay. Well, yeah.
It was, I agree. I feel like it was more civil. My position has always been, I want to hear the information about each side. I was able to hear some of that. I think they both did a great job of dancing, right? Pence had on his dancing shoes. He was two-stepping and sidestepping. And then he backed her in a corner when he said, "Hey, are you going to pack the courts?"
I don't think
she went around, but she never answered. And then he brought it back and he's like, "I want to put it on the record that she never answered the question."
Yeah. And he never answered anything. But I thought what was her retort to that was, you want to talk about packing the court? How about all the federal judges that they've put into place? How many of us have been? Do you remember?
138 or something like that.
He said, how many were black? 0. Let's talk about packing the court. And he had nothing to say. It was like,
well, I mean, you can't say anything against that. That's a fact, right? Like it's a fact. And it just kind of is what it is. But look, I wasn't overly impressed with either one of them. But I wasn't, I didn't walk away from that saying either one of them were just garbage, right? Somebody said something to me a long time ago. They said, no matter what job you have, your job is to make your boss look good. Right. And I think they both were there to do that. And like I said, I got some information. I got a little bit of direction on, ideally where they're going to go. It was, they were talking about, she was talking about her plan, or the question was about the plan for the Black community or something. I can't remember verbatim what her answer was, but I was a little disappointed in her answer. I remember thinking those are ideals, but not a plan. So I think it was like 2 minutes to answer. She spent like 1:50, saying Trump didn't do this, Trump didn't do that. And then 10 seconds saying, we wish the best for the Black community, just kind of paraphrasing. And I was like, that was an opportunity for you to really get in there and sell the Democratic position. And you could have trashed Trump too. But I think your position would have in and of itself trashed Trump because we don't see what his is. So I think other than that, nothing of it really just kind of jumped out and made me go, ooh. But I find it interesting that Trump backed out of the second debate.
Well, okay, he's being weird. I mean, like, it's not like he wasn't weird already. He still has coronavirus. He still has the virus.
Mm-hmm.
Move around like he don't. Like he's got this, you know what I mean? And that's the main. So when they said, okay, well, you're still infected, let's make this virtual. And he goes, no, I don't want to do it virtual. No, I want to get out there and infect people. In fact, I'm going to go and do some rallies. And so they were like, all right, well, you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And, Biden.
That bugged me.
It didn't bug me because honestly, we're not going to learn anything new. There's nothing to be learned from this man. We know who he is, what he is. There's nothing.
I agree. I agree that we're not going to learn anything new, but I I think we need to see who he is, right? And I think that's why he doesn't want to do it over virtually, because he can't control the room that way, right? This is a narcissistic kind of a move. I can't be in control of the environment that I find myself in, so I'm going to take my toys and go home, and I don't want to play anymore, which is some bullshit to me. You are denying the American people an opportunity to court, because isn't the second one usually a town hall style where people get to ask questions? So yeah, you're denying the American people an opportunity to bring you to task on your presidency. And I think that's bullshit.
Even if it wasn't virtual and he wasn't infected and was able to be, safely it was safe for him to be around people. They have been talking about new rules and being able to turn their mics off. So it would have been the same outcome. Honestly,
yeah.
Going overtime or whatever, and he won't shut up. Mr. President, your time is done. And that would have happened to him. They just shut his mic off, and he'd been railing and yelling or whatever the case would have turned off mic. And that would have made him look bad too. I mean, that's never happened to a U.S. president before. But in any case, at this point, we know who he is. We don't need to see anymore. We know who he is. He shows us every day. Via tweet or his actions or the stupid stuff he says and on from the White House. We know who he is. We know who he is. We've seen it. There's nothing else. There's really nothing else to prove. Nothing else to prove. Giving him a platform like that, giving him more room to lie and continue lying to command headlines with the lies and stuff he tells. So it doesn't make a difference. People right now, the quote unquote undecided. There's no cure for stupid. I don't. You know what I mean?
Just because they're undecided doesn't make them stupid, right? It's one of the things that I've said is the biggest failure in human communication is that we all operate from the standpoint that we think we're right. If we take a minute, like there are some people who are not stupid, who may not agree with Donald Trump, but agree with some things and really vehemently disagree with Joe Biden. That doesn't make them stupid. That just makes them on the other side, which, I don't like the whole pick a team size shit anyway, but I try to be understanding that people think differently than me. And that doesn't make them wrong. That just makes them different.
I got it. Okay. I'll take that. But the difference is this dude he's not in service of people. He's not in that office to serve the country. He's in there to serve himself. The only reason he really wants to be reelected, one, is to remain in power, two, so he doesn't get indicted or have to face the crimes that he's committed. That's really the motivation for him to stay in power. But you know what I'm saying? More than ever right now, because I think he sees the walls closing in. And he may not ever see jail time, but he's definitely going to have to answer to the things that he's done, past and present. And so, yes. There's no upside to having a criminal in the office like that. Like, really?
No. I don't disagree with that. But I would say, him aside, the people who are undecided, they don't share that viewpoint.
They don't share the viewpoint that he's dishonest. I mean,
some people don't.
There's evidence he's been cheating people as a businessman. There's evidence. That's a fact. That's not me making it up. That's a fact. There are plenty of people that are like, yo, I did work for this man, and he said, no, he's not going to pay me. He decided he's going to pay me less or not pay me at all, and they didn't get paid or whatever case, and they went out of business because of it. The whole Trump University was a scam.
That was a huge scam.
I remember seeing, and I saw it. They talked about it on the news the other day. A friend invited me to some seminar for an opportunity to make some money. And
Anytime somebody does that, I get real nervous.
I only went because we friends, and I'm like, all right, I'm see what you're talking about. So, and so I showed up, I sat there, and it was at a church, which was made me a little uneasy also. And it was running through, it was some sort of communications company. I won't say the name of that either. But they talked about it in the news recently. And they had the big crescendo was an endorsement from Donald Trump that by itself, this was years and years ago before he got into politics. That by itself turned me off. I'm like, yo, he's crooked. I know he's crooked. And if he's endorsing this, I already felt some kind of way about it. But seeing this snake oil, the snake oil salesman dude in front, I'm good. So, these are things that people already know. He's not. He is dishonest. He doesn't pay people, and at the bare minimum, he is prejudiced. Not just prejudice. I'll just say prejudice. I believe he's racist, and even further, but he's prejudiced and racist. As like I said, I'm old enough to remember the Central Park Five when he took out a full page ad in all the newspapers in New York advocating for teenagers to get the death penalty. Then when they were exonerated, he still was like, nah, they guilty.
He's incapable of saying that he's wrong. Like, I don't think he's ever done that in his life, which is not the mark of a good leader. But no, I wouldn't ever argue for him to win because I'm not in favor of that. I talked to one of my sisters, and she is just one of those people who, if you're a Republican, you're bad, right? Like, that's just how she looks at the world. And I'm like, that's just not true, right? That's just a person who believes differently than you. And usually those beliefs are affected by or are driven by how the world affects their lives. So you have to expect that whether it's Democratic or Republican, whether you put those labels on it or not, whatever system you find yourself in, because the world affects people differently, people are going to align differently. That doesn't necessarily make them bad. Now, to the point of the evidence of Trump being a dick, I agree with your evidence, but there are some people to whom that evidence doesn't matter. That sounds ridiculous, right? If we dig through Joe Biden's record, we can point out some shit that just looks bad. Yep. And there are people who will look at that and say, okay, I'm willing to accept that in order to get Joe Biden in because I don't like Trump that much. Conversely, there's a group of people who looks at Trump's behavior and says, I'm willing to accept that because I don't like Joe Biden that much. Which to me kind of underscores we shouldn't be voting for and aligning against another group, but for the best person.
Right. I mean, for the best person, how about he's shitty at his job?
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
You had 4 years to see him at it, and it's not gone so well. The things that he takes credit for were done by Obama. The things that the economy, you had where's the economy right now? You know what I'm saying? Like I will never understand it. It's just like looking at a brick wall and saying, oh, that's a sheet.
Look, one upside for Trump winning the election is that he will never be able to be president again. If he loses, he can always come back and try again.
Yeah, but I think he's in poor health. He won't be around that much longer. I don't see.
So we're not wishing death on the president. FBI, who's listening, and Homeland Security.
Not at all. I'm just saying he's an old man already. I mean, I don't see him going another 10 years. I don't think, you know what I mean?
That's a pretty big concern. You know what? And I'm glad you said that. So during the debate, I think Kamala and Pence both danced around that equally well, because she asked very specifically, did you have a conversation with them? Because either one of them, if they win, they'll be the oldest president ever, right? And Biden's older than Trump. And she asked very directly, have y'all had conversations about if your health fails? And both of them put on their tap dance shoes and they cut a rug around that question, man.
Now, I think if God forbid, I think we will be in good hands with Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? Even for the remainder of whatever the term is. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Tap dance away.
I think that was a great opportunity for her that she missed, because when I talk to people and they talk about their trepidation to Biden, it's his age. Right? Like that it's early signs of dementia people have pointed to and that kind of thing. So I think that was an opportunity for her to kind of reassure the undecideds that, if something happens, I got it covered.
Interesting you say that. We had a conversation just yesterday. A friend of ours, adopted mom out in Pennsylvania, who had a friend that was in politics, worked in government from another country, and had went to go meet with President Reagan. And she told the story that he told her was that, that Reagan was brilliant, but he was dealing with, early signs of dementia and would trail off and, get distracted and start talking about things that reminded him of a movie that he did. But he had people around him. He surrounded himself with people that quickly and effortlessly and smoothly directed him back to what the conversation was. And it was the people that he had around him made it so we never heard that story in the news. Like, right. You know what I mean? We knew that he was old. And once by the time he got out of politics, he didn't remember being president, basically. But the people around him kept that from happening. Kept a concern of dementia or whatever. I believe Biden will do the same thing.
I hope so. If we're pointing, and not to beat up on politics, because believe it or not, neither one of us are political dudes.
Yeah, how about that?
I think one of the things Trump did poorly, very poorly, is hire. He hired poorly. If your turnover is that high, if you're firing somebody and rehiring different people every other week, you're not hiring well.
No, he has the best people. I mean, that's what he said.
They're tremendous. And he did. Hold on, I got to do my Trump face and hands. You're tremendous. And they're the best people.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean.
That motherfucker looks weird.
Yeah, that's why you got his kids working. You know what I'm saying? Within there, which is weird. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah. Vote, people. I think a lot of places people are already voting. People are already putting their votes in. There are already votes in.
I'm actually going to get my absentee. I got a few more days to get that. I think the cutoff is October 30th to actually do it. But don't quote me on it. Please go online and look. Facebook actually is a great resource. You can go and find out if you're registered. It usually pops right up at the top of your feed when you go on to Facebook. So it's all types of tools out there. And I'll say vote, but become informed and vote. You can go to everybody, because not only, you want to look at who's going for your Senate and representative seats and local, go to their websites. Usually on their websites, it's a thing that says platform or positions or what we intend to do. Click it and read it. In the last gubernatorial race here in Georgia, I voted the way that I did because the person that I was looking at had no information on that page. Zip. Like, it was nothing. Now, the person that I voted for didn't have a whole lot, but they had more than the other person. So I could make an informed decision about what their tenure would look like in office. So inform yourself and vote.
Yeah.
God, most people who know me probably would have never thought they would ever hear me say anything like that.
That's what happens with some time and age and wisdom, brother.
Yeah, man.
We are of the wise on the wise side of the clock now.
Look, speaking of wisdom or lack thereof, did you hear about Tory Lanez? They charged him.
Yeah, they did. Oh boy, it's not looking good for him. I think ultimately he'll get deported. I think they'll send him back to Canada after he does his time because I don't see him getting out of this.
Yeah, so he's charged with one count assault with a semi-automatic firearm, one count of carrying a loaded concealed firearm in a vehicle. That's it. So no attempted murder, no assault with a deadly weapon.
Try to make her dance. That's the dance. Bah, bah. You really thought
he was in a Western,
right?
But now, if it's all jokes aside, if he gets convicted, he could spend up to 22 years in state prison.
Yeah, and then get shipped back to Canada. That's a wrap. That's a wrap.
He's pretty to be in prison.
Hey, boy, you got a pretty mouth.
I like that bald head on you, boy.
Sing me one of them songs you be singing. Sing me one of your hit songs. Then he's in trouble. Who knows what that is? Speaking of his song, so friend of the show, Art Auure, sent a new video that she just put out, a song called "Good Times." It's a good vibe. I feel like this will be a good place to play just a piece of some good vibes. So for your listening pleasure, and the video was actually pretty cool. It's called "Good Times" by Art Auure. Check it out.
That's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah.
It's got an 80s flavor on it with the horns and the bass lick. That change was Bruno Mars-esque. You know what I mean? It's a good feel good change in the record. That's a good song.
Yeah.
Look, I'll insert it in the video version. Actually, you've probably just finished watching it if you're watching the video version. Art Auure and team, please don't slap us with a copyright. We are promoting your record.
Right.
I'm joking. We got hit with a copyright for the last one, but I appealed it and they released it, so we're good.
People, good sister, man, and I'm anxious to hear more from her. But Art Auure, if you didn't see what we did with her, look back. It's in there somewhere. Check it out and support that sister. You know.
For sure.
Before we break out of here, you want to roll down some of the
birthdays?
Yeah, who celebrated their born days?
Yeah. Last weekend, India Ari turned 45. Talib Kweli turned 45. He is in my he consistently lands in my top 5.
Yeah, as
in MCs, top 5 MCs. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Aesop Rocky turned 32. I didn't know he was that old. Thought he was a younger cat. Tessa Thompson turned 37.
Tessa Thompson.
Hot or no?
Hot. Hell yeah. I think she's hot. What? You got something against light-skinned sisters, brother?
The only thing I got against light-skinned sisters is me. I try to put me against light-skinned sisters as often as I can. No, I think she's a cute girl. I think the characters that she plays, and I'm assuming that there is some of her personality in those characters. I find those very attractive. Like it's a strength and a power and a confidence in that I like that. But just physically, I think she's cute. She's all right. But I hear a lot of people's like, she's hot. And I'm like,
I think she's hot.
She hot.
Okay.
Russell Simmons.
Right.
Turned 63.
Rush, happy birthday.
Yeah. Heather Hadley had a birthday last week. A lot of people probably don't know who Heather Hadley is. I encourage you to go look her up and listen to her music. She has a dynamic voice. She turned 46. Neil deGrasse Tyson turned 62. I love that dude.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's smart as hell. And he actually does a podcast, Star Talk.
Okay.
Pretty interesting. Yeah.
Makes science sound really cool. You know what I mean? Really, really, really cool and interesting. I mean, for one, I'm already interested in some of, science or whatever, but he makes it that much more interesting. So, and cool.
On one of his podcasts, he had some different people on, because he'll have different scientists and whatever on, and they were talking about the how realistic it would be to build an enterprise, like a Starship Enterprise.
Wow.
And they kind of came to it was like, oh yeah, we could build one. It would cost so much money and a lot of the technology we wouldn't be able to do yet, but yeah, we could build one. I was like, God, that's cool.
That's something that you would just have to build in space and leave it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't build it on the ground and get it up there.
Take off, right? That's not real.
Bernie Mac, the late Bernie Mac, had a birthday last week. CeCe Winans turned 56. Paul Hogan, the crocodile hunter, or the crocodile Dundee, rather, 81 years old.
Wow. That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Yeah, that's classic.
I wonder how many people say that. Like, how that would be.
Nowadays, it would be, that's a knife. This is a gun. Chevy Chase turned 77. He's one of my favorite comedians or comedic actors. I don't think I've ever seen him do stand-up.
I don't think so either. I don't think I've seen him do it either. But I mean, I think he's still a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's still a comedian. The late John Belushi, he was a comedian, but I never saw him do stand-up.
Fair enough.
So, physical, those are, still comedians.
Word. Sigourney Weaver turned 72. We mentioned at the top of the show, Teddy Riley, 53 years old. Mm-hmm. The spirit of Teddy was over us today. Bruno Mars turned 35. I did not know he was that young. Thought he was older. So, Bruno Mars, culture vulture or creative entertainer?
Definitely a creative entertainer. Why would he be a vulture? How could he be a
lot of people call him a culture vulture.
How so? He pays homage. He pays homage to 90s and 80s R&B through his music. I mean, okay, is the assumption that he's not black?
I think it's some of that in there too.
Because I mean, not for nothing, I believe his father is Boricua. His father is Puerto Rican.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what his mom is or whatever, but
okay, so listen, I'm in the middle of editing, and at this point in the show, the audio completely goes to crap. The spirit of Teddy is on us, so you can dump out now. Now, if you want to listen to the end and try to decipher what in the hell T is saying, you can try, but show's pretty much over at this point. Hop on over to the after show, check out the rest of the conversation. See ya.
So rounds, everybody. I got to see one. Hosted and SNL. Good wild. As it comes, not I mean, it's by.
So I didn't hear any of that. Is the connection is jacked up again?
I don't know what. Okay.
This is interesting. I'm trying to figure out what you're saying from your affect.
Spirit of Teddy has said.
I'm guessing you're saying we should probably rap.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Notification. Also, socials, Unpopin. And wherever you at,
peace. Thanks for checking out the Unpopular Opinion Show. If you like this content, make sure you like, subscribe, and smash the notification button down below so you can keep getting more from T-Storm and myself.
Yeah. More jokes coming on. No, they beeped. Damn it. Okay, fine.